Hello and welcome to another episode of Unboxing Women, where we explore why women in business are often called such a bitch, with a focus on the music and entertainment industry. My name is Rexx, and with me is my friend Maika Rose, and we are both independent recording artists and singer-songwriters based in Europe. You can listen to us on our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast platform. And today we have Stormy J with us. She is a broadcaster. Hi! She's a broadcaster, journalist, and DJ with shows on Funky Essex and Totally Wired Radio. She regularly does guest mixes for other house music shows like Star 1 FM and also writes about music for online magazines Dazed and Galdem. Hi, Stormy J. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for it's a pleasure to be here. I think what you both do is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. But today is about you. Tell us how you got into the music industry. Like, how did you get to where you are now? What was your journey?
Well, I've always loved music, and I realised that I've always loved sort of talking as well. I'm a big chatterbox, and I thought, how can I sort of put together my love for talking and presenting with my love and passion for music and wanting to sort of champion in electronic dance music. So I thought I'll be a radio host and DJ. So I went to university, and I studied multimedia journalism, and I studied radio as part of my course. We also did TV journalism, magazine journalism. So basically any form of journalism you can think of, we covered it on that course. But I'd say I got a real love for radio and really found my way in sort of the media and music industry when I actually got real life work experience. Like, I found at university, sitting in the classroom, wasn't always the best way to help me get better. And especially being dyslexic as well, I think I thrive more in an environment where I'm actually in the studio or on the decks, and that's when I learn the most. So I started doing work experience. I was literally started just sending emails out to radio stations just telling them that I'm passionate about music. Please, can I shadow one of your presenters, or just get in? I just needed my foot in the door. I just wanted to get in the room, basically. And worked at Funky Essex. I've worked at different community-based radio stations across London. And yeah, it's been really fun. I only started DJing about 2 years ago now. 2 years ago, well, half that year was spent in lockdown. Yeah. But,
True.
I started to teach myself how to DJ, but I was always kind of a bit scared and a bit kind of self-conscious about being a DJ in a male-dominated industry.
Okay.
And I think that probably contributed to why I took so long to start, but here I am doing it anyway.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And with the lockdown, you probably had lots of time to practice.
Yeah. Do you know what? I see it as a positive thing. Like, even though most DJs for the last 15 months or so, we haven't been able to do what we love. We haven't been able to play to audiences and enjoy that transferred energy. But I've seen it as, this is a chance for me to, build my music library and just practice. And yeah, I think it's, in a way, it's kind of nice to have a quiet period, because now everything's back open again. It's like another summer of love movement. Like, everyone's fallen in love with the dance floor again, and it's giving the whole culture another boost, I think.
It does, yeah. I'm waiting for the how did they call it? The Roaring Twenties back in 1920, but we're heading for the same thing.
Yes, actually, this is the thing, right? I thought at the beginning of 2020, I was like, yes, this is where I'm going to start through that. This is my time, the 20s. Everybody always used to say at uni that I should have been born in the 20s because I really like that music as well. Just kind of the vibe.
I love a bit of 20s jazz.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, so much fun. So then I was like, oh my God, we can remake them. The Roaring Twenties. We can do them again.
I'm down.
Yes,
yeah,
we
too.
definitely should.
So tell me a little bit about, because you're saying, it's such a male-dominated world, being a DJ, specifically house DJ. I used to be a DJ too, actually. I was a hardcore DJ. And I started way back. So I didn't really think of it then. I was very young as well. I was 16 when I started, and I didn't really think of it as being a male-dominated thing. I just threw myself at it. And I was just wondering how, how many male to female colleagues do you have? I mean, in the radio DJ world more, is it kind of getting more female now? Because you do see a lot of female presenters nowadays.
Yes, I think for example, at my radio station, it's the biggest urban and dance station that broadcasts across Essex. And there's only a handful of women DJs, definitely less than 10, and that's out of about 50 DJs. So there still is a gap. And especially then when you layer the gender of race as well, there's even less. So I know that I'm the only black female presenter on my radio station. And in the dance music scene, it's quite white and male predominantly, and so I feel like I'm kind of, as a black woman, I'm kind of breaking through two barriers, which is cool. I don't mind. I want to.
Good on you.
To sort of reclaim it, because I've sort of studied my music history. I'm a music nerd, right? And I know that sort of techno and house music was sort of created from sort of queer black communities in America, like Chicago and Detroit. And I kind of just want to reclaim it by sort of representing those communities. That's what I want to, that's kind of
really
part
cool.
of my mission.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. Also, if you think about it from a marketing standpoint, being unique is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So just being able to be well, I'm obviously already different from all the other people who work with me. So it's just kind of this is what I stand for, and this is great. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you. I just want to, it's funny because you say 50 DJs, and then around 10 are women, which is actually already great, because 15 years ago, it was 50 DJs, one was a woman, and now you're saying that nearly 10 are a woman. So I think that's great progress already. Yeah. We're not yet. We're not there yet.
Do you know what? 10 might even be an exaggeration. There's probably only about 5. I just don't know the exact figure off the top of my head. There has been 100% has been improvements, but there's still so much work to be done. I think it was a few years ago. It was the Wireless Festival. They released a lineup. And it was, I think somebody edited out all the men, and you could see the women that were left in the lineup, and there was literally about 3 women out of a big proper Wireless Festival lineup.
That's a great way to show it. Yeah.
And then that inspired me to write an article in Galzum magazine talking about, because it had been 100 years since women were able to vote in this country, which is, a mark of how much we're sort of evolving as a society. But then within the same breath, women aren't being represented in music. And why? Why are things, it's gatekeepers are scared to book women or scared to take a risk, which is so backwards. It makes me think, who are the gatekeepers? Are they all men at the top? Things are improving, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Definitely.
Yeah. This ties into our show last week, because we were talking about festival lineups, exactly this, and how many women were on it, and also the whole Grammy issue with Grammy So Male, and not even the people winning the awards or nominees, but also the performance lineup. So this is definitely something that we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because if you think about it, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in Germany, when you listen to the radio, it's usually 2 people who have their own kind of show, and it's usually male and female. So they present to be equal, like numbers wise, but I wonder how many people behind the scenes are actually female, or if the discrepancy shows up more then.
That's important. It's the same for race, I think, as well. You can't just have, okay, for example, say you've got like a campaign or an advert, say showcasing more black people in the advert, you need like casting directors and people that are actually making the decisions. They need to be represented there behind the scenes, because that's where decisions are made. Otherwise, it's just kind of tokenistic.
Yeah, it's just white people saying we need black people to do the thing.
Yeah, we need change at the top, behind closed doors, and it's the same with gender. Like the people that are putting people on festival lineups, there needs to be women in those teams that can, you know, help make more, you know, equal decisions and more informed decisions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because that's where it starts. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So we were wondering, this is actually how we connected online.
Yes.
We had heard that there was this unwritten rule that 2 female records were not allowed to be played back to back, and there must be 3 male records in between, or something like that. And you know a bit about this rule.
Do you know what? It's kind of like I've heard bits about it, but I've always, as a DJ, when I became a DJ, I decided to make the decision to be unapologetic. Like sometimes I just play about 5 female records in a row. If the bass line is a hard beat, it's pumping, then for me it doesn't matter. It's a banger is a banger. A good song is a good song, and you know, I don't think my manager would dare tell me.
No.
1 or 2 records in a row. I think because that's why it's like an unsaid rule, but it's not actually real. Like,
it's not real. Well, I think it was more in pop music, like on, I don't know, on like mainstream radio.
A bit more underground, so I don't. Maybe that still does apply for mainstream radio and national radio stations, but I think because I'm still at a community level, like it is my goal to get onto national radio, but at the moment I think I have a little bit more leeway. But I've always been quite, sort of, me in particular, quite conscious of the sort of ratio in terms of the artists that I'm playing, because how can I want change if I don't, you know, be a good example of that myself? So I've always wanted to try and use my position, use my platform, no matter how big or small it is. I want to use it to push women. And although I do more, I work in the dance scene now, but I was working at a hip hop radio station for a year in London, and I always made the conscious effort to interview women as well. So every week I'd have guests on the show, but I would always switch it up, making sure I'm looking for, you know, women rappers out there, and because there is the talent there, it's not that's not the issue. It's just making the effort to actually go and look and represent these women, and it makes me feel good about myself after, because I feel like I'm actually doing my bit. Instead of complaining about things how things are unequal, I can still do my bit. Like even on my Totally Wide radio show, I think in the beginning I actually had a little competition with myself. I said, I'm going to just, how many like women identifying DJs can I book in a row? Just keep going till I can't think of any more. And I think my first 5 shows were all women.
Cool.
And
that's amazing.
It was lovely. It was great. And I think radio hosts need to realise that they can just take a risk, and you can sort of represent women, and a lot of the time no one will stop you, but it's just that we're sort of taught, we're subconsciously told that we shouldn't, that we can't sort of play too many women in a row, but we can.
I think the key is in what you were just saying. Take a risk. Why is it such a risk to put a bunch of women, you know, on a lineup? Why is it such a risk to book them in a row? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, ingrained in us.
In fashion, it's like Vogue magazine. I think like there's only been 2, well, before Edwin became the new head of Vogue, I think they only had 2 black female covers. That was
Really?
Naomi Campbell and Jordan Dunn in like a 20-year span.
What?
Because people in fashion, they're told that black covers don't sell, but they're always too scared to take the risk.
Yeah.
They think the risk, by taking a risk, they'll lose profit.
Yeah, exactly.
But only now that we've got a black, what's the name of the person that's at the top of the magazine? Editor-in-chief. Now that we've got a black editor-in-chief that, you know, is not afraid to take that risk, because it's not even a risk.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
now
just...
we've had loads of black covers and it's been great. And it just goes to show that, you know, by having a black person on the cover of a magazine, it's not going to sell less covers. Like, hello.
Yeah.
And the same as having women on a DJ lineup, it's not going to make people, you know, go, oh, I don't want to see that set. It's a beautiful woman on stage. Oh, I can't have that.
I love that. Yes, applause.
Yeah.
Applause.
Yes. No, but also, I mean, it kind of ties into having the Jesus. No. So having the black editor-in-chief is also ties into what you were saying before about having people behind the scenes throughout the whole kind of, in all levels, you need to be represented.
Exactly right.
Change the gatekeeper and
it just shows it works.
People are the people that are in control. They let people in and out. They have their, you know, they have access and they are in control of things. So if we make those gatekeepers represent marginalized communities and communities that aren't seen or are silenced, you know, it's the same with even like disability. You know, perhaps if we had editors at Vogue magazine that are from that are disabled or represent those communities, then there'll be more representation. Yeah, it's the same as a lot of festivals are not very disabled friendly.
That's true.
Probably because the decision makers are not clued up on what disabled people need at a festival, for example.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is insane.
With that in mind, are there any anecdotes that you want to share with us about things that have happened to you personally or have been said to you with regards to, well, on the one side, gender, and also race? You know, have you had, you know, any run-ins with anybody about that?
Well, I remember one time I was DJing at this place in London. I won't even say what part of London. I'll keep it vague.
Yes, keep it vague.
But and this guy, he put me on this lineup, and he knew that I didn't feel 100% confident in my mixing skills at the time. But during my set, he kept on like really trying to take over. He was basically trying to DJ for me, and it was really like, I was like, let me do it. Like, if I make a mistake, let me make my own mistakes. Like, I'm not like, what are you doing? Like, and it was really embarrassing. It was really awkward, and I felt really frustrated. Like, I feel my cheeks getting all hot. It was like, just every time I did something, he was kind of like, no, you've got to do it that way. And from his point of view, he was trying to help and make a better experience for the audience, which makes sense. But at the same time, that's my set to make my mistakes. And I guarantee if I was a man, he wouldn't have, you know, felt to come into my personal space and start, you know, interfering with my set. And I just felt really like in that day, I felt like if I was a guy, this wouldn't be happening. And I got through this set. I wanted to keep it professional. So kept a smiley face, you know what I mean? But then I remember even like my friends sent me some videos from the night, and I watched the videos back and I was like, look, you can see him doing it in the video. He keeps like pushing his hands over the decks, and it's really annoying.
Yeah. The thing that is also with that is he booked you, right?
Yeah.
So why would he book you if he doesn't think he can do it? Like what is...
I know. Like, are you booking me out of like pity or to tick a box to say that you've got a woman to just look good for you? I don't know. I just felt like
it's really weird. It is. It's absolutely unrespectful. That would drive me insane. Like, I can understand, really, like, in the situation, you probably, you reacted, I would probably react as well, just being like, oh, I'm not, this makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm already a little bit insecure about like not completely confident in what I'm doing. But
yeah, it's quite hard in those environments when you've got loud music to say, excuse me, can you stop doing that? And half the time they can't even hear you anyway. So you have to really shout. Then if you shout, it makes you look like a bitch. It makes you look like you're making a scene. Mm-hmm. So I just sort of awkwardly kind of did nothing. I just felt so powerless at that moment. But I haven't really put myself in that position where I'd DJ for someone that I think would sort of make me feel like that. I mean, you never know. But I'm DJing at a festival tomorrow. But actually, no. I'm with my friend Sarah. She's my hype woman for tomorrow. She won't allow any men to do that to me.
Yeah, you need a bodyguard to like guard the stage so nobody else can come close.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but on that point though, have you ever been called a bitch for just kind of standing up for yourself and defending what you do and just being a person?
Being a strong woman.
I haven't been called a bitch. Well, not to my face, maybe behind my back, but that's because I'm not very argumentative, and sometimes where I should stick up for myself more, I don't, and I'll probably go home and cry about it instead. Which is I'm learning to stick up for myself because I don't want to be perceived as a bitch. I don't want to be perceived as difficult. But you know, like for example, that situation I was just describing with that guy trying to take over my set. Going back, maybe I would stood up for myself more, and the consequence of that would be I might have been called a bitch. But I think, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm tiptoeing around men.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I want to ask then, because you're actively trying to be soft and not difficult.
Yeah.
Is that just for you, or is that for the men?
It's to be easy, just to make it smooth for them, really, and just to make it all go smooth. And I don't want any drama. I don't want, that make me anxious. But on the whole, it has been okay. And for example, my producer at Totally Wired Radio, he was identified as a trans man, and the PR person at Fred Perry is gay. And for example, I've worked with a lot of people that are from sort of marginalised sexualities or genders, so they've been quite understanding.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at radio day to day, I'm literally on my own. I let myself into Funk Essex.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have a DJ. Well, sometimes there's a DJ before me, but the hour after me is a mix. So I don't actually cross into a lot of people. And obviously we've had lockdown as well.
Yeah.
So
true.
I've been kind of lucky, but
I mean, fingers crossed it stays that way.
Yeah. So I think it's important to just go whatever sort of set you go into, like just be strong within yourself and know that you are worthy. And I think just go in there, hold your head held up high. I'll go in there, I'll shake a man's hand, and I'll say, I'm here to do my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Exactly. Yeah, it really is. It's kind of, there's the fine line between, and I think you've realized this for yourself as well. There's a fine line between trying not to be difficult and infringing upon your own kind of worth and happiness by trying not to be difficult. Like there's always like, don't cause drama just for drama's sake, basically, right? But yeah, there's a fine line, and I think it's really a really hard one to kind of find, because sometimes when we think we're just, when I've had this at gigs where I'm like, look, I'm still not loud enough on the mic, like on the what's it called, the boxes, and sound techs have told me, oh, your voice is too quiet. I'm just like,
turn it up.
Exactly. Or tell the other people to turn themselves down. Like, why is this my problem?
Yeah.
So, but actually, in situations like that, right? Yeah, no, go ahead.
I just remembered the other week, I DJ at a bar, and I remember this guy was trying to he claimed he was a DJ. I was paid to do a set that night, and he claimed that he was a DJ and he was like telling me to go have a break and started trying to take over on my actual decks. And I was like, I kind of felt just really awkward, and I felt a bit powerless again. It's like, I felt like if I was a male DJ, he wouldn't have had the confidence to do that. And I think that's what it is. They feel like because you're a woman DJ, you know, your space should be open to them.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah. And this also ties into what we've we're seeing a lot of stuff on TikTok lately, obviously, about gender and race and also narcissistic abuse. I mean, these are all things that are in our female world. And there's, I think, men, and this was a TikTok by a man, by the way, which I really thought was so clear. The way he said it is that a lot of men don't realize how much we as women pamper them and kind of avoid things for them to not, you know, and just
like tiptoeing around them,
and that they think they're in total control, while actually it's just us not, you know, just letting them do their thing.
We could blow this all up right now if we just
we stop doing that.
Exactly.
We should stop doing that.
No, I think actually, Stormy, you said it really well. I think you said they think they are entitled to be in our space.
Yeah.
Well,
they're not.
They're not.
They're
That's
not,
a good quote.
Yeah. Or even like sometimes when I'm DJing, like I might, like tomorrow it's a festival, I'm probably going to be wearing like a mini skirt or crop top or something like that. Like, just because I want to look sexy for myself, that's not an invitation to start flirting with me whilst I'm trying to work.
Or touching you.
Start trying to cross boundaries. Don't touch me. Like, you know.
It's like, especially you're working.
I always used to wear sort of oversized T-shirts and more like dungarees, and sometimes I'll deliberately dress quite tomboyish. I always do like my makeup quite glam and stuff, but I'd always wear like just baggy stuff. Whereas I think now I'm sort of trying to, like, I don't care. Like now if I want to wear a sexy dress, I will do that, and I shouldn't feel any type of way about it. And which is good. I'm just being unapologetically myself, but it's taken time, and it's taken, you know, just learning to love myself and be sure with myself, and learning when to stop caring about what men think.
And learning what we've learned when we were kids about gender. All right.
All right. I mean, I guess that's all for today then. So thank you everybody for tuning into this week's episode of Unboxing Women, and thank you Stormy J for coming on our show. We've had a blast.
Oh, I've loved it.
Amazing. So if you guys want to connect with Storm, then be sure to check out her socials, which you can find in the show notes below. And if you've ever had an experience you'd like to share with us, send us a DM or tag us in the, Jesus Christ, tag us in your post with the hashtag such a bitch.
Like this.
And don't forget, exactly like that, if you're watching on YouTube.
Hello. I've always wanted to do that. Like, subscribe.
Yes, exactly. Also, don't forget to support your favorite artists through merch or donations. My name is Maika Rose, and I've been chatting with Rexx and Stormy J. This is a bi-weekly show. This is a weekly show now. Oh, it's a weekly show. Yes, so make sure to tune back in next week. Same time, same place. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.